I've been wondering recently why it's so hard to improve ourselves, why we struggle to do the things we know we should do, and also why we do things all the time that we know are not good for us. You know, when we worry and stress out too much for our own good, tense up although we need to relax more than ever, distract ourselves when all we need is more calmness in our minds, eating and drinking things we know should be left untouched by us. But why is it so hard to do the workout? Why is it so hard to sit down and record this video we've been procrastinating on for days? Why is it so hard to be consistent with pretty much anything we begin with nowadays? Maybe we aren't trying enough. We don't think we're capable of doing great things, we don't even think it's worth trying. Could everything we want or don't want in our lives all depend on us trying harder? Or maybe, just maybe, could it be that we're trying too much? So a couple of days ago, I was thinking about this exact question. I was wondering why I wasn't more productive or disciplined, and why I still was more tense when I would like to think less than I wanted to. And honestly, it was not the first time I asked that question. I've been asking the same question for days, weeks, months, even years. Maybe from the first started to talk like more than 20 years ago. And I don't think it's only me. Everyone is probably asking the same question. I mean, it's common sense to want the best for themselves, right? Whether it's a good workout or another cigarette. So why is it that not everyone is living their perfect lives, like having a six-pack, working with insane speed, and make truly memorable contribution to mankind? Then I remember the principle coined by the philosopher Alan Watts, but popularized by Mark Manson, called the backwards law. And he states that in order to get anything you want, you need to do the opposite to get there. Well, obviously this doesn't apply to everything, like for instance exercise, but many of these important aspects of life are in fact guided by this law. In order to get, you need to give, whether it's a status, money or love. And in order to be truly confident, we need to accept our insecurities and bring them up with pride. Also in Antifragile, which is my favorite book of all time, author Nassim Taleb talks about the term called iatrogenics, which basically means that we hurt ourselves by trying to help ourselves. Yeah, it's weird, I know. And Taleb gives the example of children exposed to higher mortality by tonsillectomy operations rather than letting them heal by themselves. But Taleb also mentioned inverse iatrogenics, which is when we help ourselves by trying to hurt ourselves. Like hackers making systems stronger, or Ayn Rand becoming popular because of the efforts to ban her. So this all got me thinking, like, are we hurting ourselves by trying to help ourselves? Are we procrastinating because we want to get it done? Are we doing all these bad habits because we want to get rid of them as soon as possible? And most importantly, if the road to hell is paved with good intentions, does it mean that the road to heaven is paved with bad intention? And what does even an intention mean? With these questions in mind, I started to look deeper on what was really going on inside my mind. Let's say I'm at this couch, but I want to get out and make some progress. I did no longer want to be in that couch. And you might think that because I didn't want to be there, I should have gotten out in there, but that's not really what happened. Instead, I started to tense up. I started to distract myself in order to escape the situation, whether it was overthinking or on my phone. I felt more and more miserable while wanting more and more to get out. And now I understand why. Like, whenever I want something else from what's going on right now, I reject it here and now. I was afraid what's actually happening, and of course my mind had so-called good intentions, so it wanted to save me from that horrific situation. Here is this thought that can pull you out from this horrible place that you are in and sort of distract yourself in that way, or here's your phone, now feel good. So it's sort of a servant acting like in a very counterintuitive way, or sort of counterproductive way. And when I saw that, when I observed what was going on, I remembered that backwards law again, and that the road to hell was paved with good intentions. So I did the unthinkable and wanted to stay in that couch, despite the fact that I was supposed to make progress at my desk. I genuinely wanted to be there as long as possible, forgetting everything else but just enjoying that cozy place. And of course my mind started to process like, Oscar, what are you doing? You're hurting yourself, you're going to die. Yes, it was quite serious. But I persisted and genuinely wanted to hurt myself. Then something amazing happened. It felt like a huge fog and huge weight suddenly disappeared. I felt light, and now it was super easy to go to the desk, and in fact I did it automatically without thinking. And at the desk I did the same. Genuinely wanted to sit there and do nothing, and again I became more productive than ever been in years. Instantly dropped into flow and get good along the way while massive progress was being made. And now you might be thinking, great Oscar, you finally made it out from the couch for once, but what does that have to do with me? And for a couple of days now, I played around with this paradox of productivity, this paradox of self-improvement, and come up with a go-to situation, a two-step process that has helped me tremendously and hope it will for you too. First, know what you want. Too often we're too distracted to even know what we want at a specific moment in time. For instance, if you experience a lot of tensions in your body right now, know that you want to be relaxed instead. And if that is not enough, if that doesn't solve the issue immediately, then you can apply the backwards law thing that I mentioned earlier with this following phrase that I sort of adapted to myself. It's the serenity prayer, but more applicable in my opinion. I accept or want whatever happens right now until I can control it. When I can control it, I control it and then I win. So in other words, you're letting go, but knowing that as soon as you get the grip on the situation, you can handle it. You're not fighting it right now and causes stress, but instead you're like in Eastern martial arts, yielding to overcome. You're sort of surrendering to it in order to stay on top of it in the end. So the paradox of productivity, the paradox of self-improvement, which I've sort of come to realize during all these 3, 4, 5 years I've been throughout that journey, is that by wanting to be more productive, you become unproductive and miserable. But if you want to be unproductive and slow, you become more and more productive by default. Yeah, I know, it's quite counterintuitive and quite weird, so it was a very recent discovery. And the same goes of course with habits and self-improvement overall. The less you need to improve yourself and accept yourself right now, the faster you will grow, because then you're too busy doing actual things instead of obsessing too much about yourself and your own past and whatever. And the less you need that good habits to stick with every day, it will come naturally, almost like no effort at all. And the more you can come to terms with your bad habits, the faster they will vanish. I really hope this is as helpful for you as it was for me, and let me know your thoughts and insights in the comments. But in true backwards law fashion, you don't need to comment, and all this doesn't need to be helpful at all.